Hi guys, welcome back to my project. I'm Eric. What you can see on the screen is an application that we are going to make together today. In this video, I'm going to talk about creating a desktop app for macOS using Flutter. If you are familiar with Flutter, you don't need this video. I recommend this one to those who started Flutter for the first time. The completion of the MQTT client will be done in the next video. So if you need that part, I recommend you skip this video. If you develop using Flutter, you can create an application that is not 100% native, but is very close to native. Also, it's possible to develop quickly for individual project or small projects. So I'm pretty sure it will be helpful if you run it. Let's make it together from the beginning. I believe you have already had a Flutter development environment on your end. Please refer to the official page of the Flutter to configure the development environment if you don't have it. Currently, I'm using the 2.2.2 version in the stable channel. In order to develop applications for macOS, you need to turn on this option. This way, we are ready to develop the application for macOS. When you run Flutter.to again, you can see Xcode developed for iOS and macOS like my screen. The application for macOS, just like the application for iOS, requires Xcode. I'm currently using Xcode 12.4. I usually use Android Studio when I develop Flutter. You can use VS Code as well. Please insert the necessary information and don't forget to check to macOS. I'm gonna make a new project. Creating a Flutter project in the Android Studio already pre-rolls in the dummy project. The code shown on the screen is an example source code. You can see the macOS folder created on the right side. Let's see if this dummy code is built normally and works as an application for macOS. Select the target device as macOS and press the play button. The first build takes some time, but the build speed is faster after that. Here's the application for Mac. I already looked at the same screen on my mobile phones, but it feels amazing when I see this again on Mac. This foreign action button is to increment the number. It works well. Okay, the code for the unit test I will not use for this project, so I will delete it. I will remove all existing dummy code and start from the beginning. I will create two widgets. A stateless widget that is drawn only once when the screen is loaded, meaning that there is no data that need to be changed and is not operated by events or user interactions. On the contrary, a stateful widget is a dynamic widget that reflects changes in the widget by redrawing the screen or when data changes are needed and is operated by event or user interaction. The most common approach is to create and start the material app within stateless widget. You can set the theme in the options in the material app. It can be changed according to user system default, but I will set them as dark mode. The home of the app is the MQTT client, which is the stateful widget. I will check what I've done so far. It's the blank page with nothing, but you can see the dark theme applied. I will remove the part marked debug on the upper right. You can remove this part by making it false in the debug option. It's much better. Let's make a MQTT client screen. The home screen starts with the scaffold. You can work with the most basic parts of the screen. Usually I make an app bar and use it as a title, but I will draw everything I need in the body part in this project. First, I will divide the screen into three parts using the column. In order to distinguish it clearly, I paint different colors for each. Because we use a flex to determine the proportion of the screens, we must use a widget called expanded. Let me make the vertical axis screen ratio 3:10:3 on flex. Also changing each color. The shortcut for code alignment is Option Command L on the Mac and Ctrl Alt L on Windows. This is really helpful. You can see here that the screen is configured to 3:10:3. The screen in the middle will be the body part, so I think it should be bigger. Also, the last column will contain only a status text, so it'll be better to reduce it further. It's much better than before. It came out as I wanted. Let's work on the body part. I'm trying to divide the body part into two using row. On the left, text can be entered, and on the right, you will see the incoming images over there. Use the widget expanded and also flex to divide the screen as before and put the container with a different color to make it easier to distinguish. This is the layout configuration of this app I want. If you understand row and column clearly, you can organize the layout easily and quickly. Resizing the window changes the screen size while keeping the ratio. This is a basic function of Windows-based applications. Let's clean up the layout code. If we organize each part separately as a function, readability will improve. I will divide it into header, body, and footer. It's the same code and I just made it into functions and separated it. Let me check it again. You can see the same screen here. Now let's add the title of the header. You can simply use a text widget to put the text you want. Also applying the style to the text. You can see that the color we put in the container have decreased by the horizontal length of the text widget. If we have a child widget in the container, the length of the container is assigned as much as its child. Now I don't need a color to check where it is, so I delete it. It has been applied. I will complete the first side. There will be text indicating the status. Complete the text widget like the text in the header. The color of the container overlaps the color of the text. After removing the container color, I will modify the center alignment to the right alignment. The center alignment is a default. I will add padding to the right so that the text doesn't stick too much to the right. This completes the full layout. I will add the text form field on the left side so that we can get an ID from the user. Also, we will make this part into a column because we need a disconnect button after connecting. Using the decoration options in the text form field to better represent the hint label. You can also add the suffix icon in this widget to use the icon button without creating an additional button. I will add the disconnect button simply. On the left side, you can receive input from the user and the disconnect button has been added. Looks good. I will adjust the left and right ratio of the body. I think it's too long on the left. Also, I'll change the color of the container to black. Also, the input field looks too full to the width, so I will add some padding. This is exactly what I wanted. The UI is completed with this. Now let's create the variables that are associated with the layout. To display status updates with text, we need one string. I will make it with the name status text. Also adding a text editing controller to allow you to receive the input text. You can grab a text in real time by adding a listener, but there is an icon button, so I will get the input text when the user presses the button. Text editing controller must be disposed after use. This dispose method used to release the memory allocated to variables when the state object is removed. Finally, we will make a bool variable that represents the current connection status so that the layout can be changed accordingly. Go to the text form field. It only enables this widget when is connected is false only. It also adds the controller. This associates the text fields in the layout with the controller. There's a disconnect button at the bottom. This button is a widget that needs to appear after connection is successful. So it needs to change to appear when it's connected is true only. When it's connected is false, you can just add an empty container if you want to make empty space. Let's see the result again. As expected, the discount button is gone. It will appear again after successful connection. I will change the text in the footer to status text as well. The layout is completed with this. I will continue working on the next video. The source code link can be found below description. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.